In the land of promise, where the hills kissed the sky and the rivers flowed like silver threads, a pivotal chapter in Israel's history was about to unfold. The people of Israel had wandered for years in the desert, longing for the land that God had promised them, Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, under the courageous leadership of Joshua, son of Nun, they stood at the edge of their dreams, ready to claim what was rightfully theirs. Joshua was a man of faith, chosen by God to lead his people after Moses, the great prophet who had brought them out of slavery in Egypt. The sun rose over the plains of Moab, casting a golden glow, as Joshua prepared the people for their journey. God spoke directly to him, saying, "Be strong and courageous, for you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors." With his heart full of determination, Joshua rallied the Israelites, reminding them of God's promises and the importance of obedience. The first challenge awaited them, the mighty Jordan River. The waters were high, swollen from the spring rains. Yet, God instructed Joshua to have the priests carry the Ark of the Covenant, a sacred symbol of his presence, and step into the river. With faith shining like a beacon, the priests obeyed. The moment their feet touched the water, the river parted, creating a dry path for the people to cross. As they walked through the riverbed, the Israelites heard the soft whispers of God's faithfulness. This miraculous moment taught them that even in seemingly impossible circumstances, faith can move mountains. Trusting God leads to great victories. Once they crossed the Jordan, God commanded Joshua to gather 12 men, one from each tribe, to take stones from the riverbed. These stones would serve as a memorial, a reminder of how God had led them safely to the other side. They placed the stones at Gilgal, and Joshua proclaimed, "In the future, when your children ask, 'What do these stones mean?' you will tell them how the Lord dried up the Jordan for us." The lesson here speaks to the importance of remembering God's faithfulness in our lives. Our stories of faith can inspire future generations to trust in God. As the Israelites camped at Gilgal, they celebrated the first Passover in the Promised Land. They ate unleavened bread and roasted grain, a reminder of God's deliverance. The very next day, the manna that had sustained them in the wilderness ceased. They were now in a land where they could cultivate their own food. This transition reminded them that God provides, but also that they must take responsibility for their new home. Soon after, Joshua encountered a mysterious figure near Jericho, a man with a drawn sword. Joshua approached him, asking if he was for them or their enemies. The figure replied, "Neither. I am the commander of the Lord's army." Recognizing the divine presence, Joshua fell to the ground. This moment of humility reminded Joshua that victory would not come through strength alone, but through obedience to God's commands. God then revealed his battle plan for Jericho. The city was fortified, its walls strong and tall. But God's strategy was unlike any military tactic they knew. Joshua was to march around the city once a day for 6 days with the armed men, followed by the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant. On the 7th day, they would march around 7 times, and at the end, they would shout, and the walls would fall. It seemed absurd, yet Joshua conveyed this plan with unwavering faith. The people obeyed, marching silently for 6 days. On the 7th day, excitement and anticipation filled the air as they circled the city, shouting with all their might after the final lap. Suddenly, the earth trembled. The walls of Jericho crumbled to the ground, and the Israelites surged forward to take the city. From this victory, we learn that God's ways often defy our understanding. Faithful obedience can lead to triumph, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Yet, not all was without its trials. After their victory, Israel faced a setback at Ari. Overconfident from their recent triumph, Joshua sent only a few men to take the small city. But they were routed, and 36 men died. Distraught, Joshua fell on his face before God, questioning why they had been defeated. God revealed that sin had entered the camp through Achan, who had taken forbidden items from Jericho. Joshua took swift action, confronting Achan. The lesson here is profound. Sin can hinder our progress and lead to lost battles. God desires purity among His people and instructs us to deal with sin promptly. After dealing with Achan's transgression, Joshua led the Israelites against Ai once more. This time, they followed God's instructions carefully. They set an ambush, and the city fell into their hands. The victory was sweet, and Israel learned that true success comes through repentance and reliance on God. Following the conquest of Ai, Joshua renewed the covenant between God and the Israelites. He gathered the people on Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim, proclaiming blessings for obedience and warnings for disobedience. They vowed to serve the Lord, reaffirming their commitment to Him. This moment of recommitment highlighted the importance of remembering who God is and what He has done for them. Soon, the news of Israel's victories spread, and a coalition of kings from the surrounding nations grew fearful. The Gibeonites, wise and cunning, sought to save themselves from destruction. They deceived Joshua by pretending to be from a distant land, wearing worn-out clothes and carrying old provisions. Joshua, not seeking God's counsel, made a treaty with them. When the truth came to light, the Israelites were bound by their oath. The Gibeonites became woodcutters and water carriers for the assembly, but they were spared from destruction. This reminds us of the importance of seeking God in our decisions and the weight of our promises. As time passed, Israel continued to conquer the land. With each victory, they grew stronger, yet they faced fierce opponents. God fought for them, sending hail against the Amorites and causing confusion among their enemies. Joshua prayed, and God made the sun stand still, allowing Israel to finish the battle in daylight. This miraculous event shows us the power of prayer and God's control over nature. When we trust Him, He can do the impossible. Finally, the land was divided among the tribes of Israel. Each family received their inheritance, fulfilling God's promise to them. Joshua was given the city of Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim. As he grew older, he gathered the people once more at Shechem. He reminded them of their history, of God's faithfulness through trials and victories. He urged them to choose whom they would serve, declaring, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." His words resonated with the people. They responded with commitment, vowing to follow God. Joshua's final appeal highlights the importance of making daily choices to follow God and instilling those values in our families. Joshua died at the age of 110, having led Israel faithfully. The people mourned him, remembering his devotion and courage. Yet, they also faced a future of challenges. In the years to come, they would struggle with faithfulness to God. As we reflect on the book of Joshua, we see themes of faith, obedience, and God's enduring promises. Each story reminds us that God is with us in our battles. He calls us to trust Him and step out in faith, even when the path seems unclear. Our journey may be fraught with challenges, but just as He was faithful to Israel, He is faithful to us today. We are reminded that the stones of our lives, our testimonies, serve as reminders of God's faithfulness. Let us share our stories with the next generation, encouraging them to trust in the Lord. May we seek His guidance in our decisions and remain steadfast in our commitment to follow Him. In closing, let us take heart. God's faithfulness endures through every season of life. He is the commander of our lives, guiding us with love and purpose. As we navigate our own journeys, may we always remember to be strong and courageous, trusting in the Lord who has brought us this far and who will continue to lead us home.